always been the case. Promotions have been a moment in time. I liken it to when we plan a vacation. You identify all of the landmarks you want to see, and you get plenty of pictures in your phone of all of those things. But what you remember, I mean, the real magic of that trip, it's what happens in between, on the way, wearing out your shoes because you don't want to take a cab or the metro and miss anything, or the learning a little bit of a language and stumbling your way through and discovering that you can communicate. It's all the stuff in between that makes a trip. It's all the stuff in between those events that makes life, right? And so it's the day-to-day that happens, the small moments of growth that happen over time that make a career. The satisfaction associated with getting a promotion, just like, a raise, it's gone pretty fast. It's just now what they call you. It's just whatever you make. But it's the day-to-day wringing the greatest amount of satisfaction and engagement and learning and growth out of those moments. That's what makes a career and creates the satisfaction that we're looking for day in and day out at work.
And so in your book, I saw that you did some research and you found, was it 7 or 8 things outside of promotions that contribute to a positive experience with work, right? And I figured that we could talk them through quickly, each of them, but can you maybe start by just kind of outlining them, just like in one sentence, I guess, and then we can go into each one individually?
So can I just step back a moment from that to get to that point? So
yes, please.
Over these past 10 years, as I've been working with organizations and leaders around the world, and talking with folks really deeply about what careers mean to them, how they want to grow, and looking at the workplace to see what really is possible, the pattern started to emerge, and I started to see these 7 other dimensions in addition to that promotion climb up the corporate ladder. As much as I want to say it's so yesterday, it's today, it's going to be tomorrow, it's still a feature on the workplace landscape, but it's a feature that's available to so few people. It's a feature over which managers and employees have pitifully little control or influence. And so no wonder there's dissatisfaction. People feel disempowered and unable to affect their lives. There's no agency there. So these other 7 dimensions that started to, sort of bubble up. Some of them are absolutely on the nose, and you think about them when you think about career development. So things like challenge. A lot of managers are really good at invoking challenge, stretch assignments and special projects and the like to help their people grow. There's a dimension around competence. And again, as an individual, as a manager, that's something we think about is what do some people need to be good at to grow and to develop? What skills, abilities, and that becomes increasingly important given how fast the world is changing, how short the half-life of skills are, especially technical skills today. So there are dimensions like that we think, yeah, sure, that is, I think about that when I think about career development. But then there are other dimensions like contribution. Contribution is that, innate human need to make a difference, to give back, to leave things better than they were, to live on purpose. And that's only become more important now. But there's tremendous learning to be had and growth to be had in that. There's a dimension around connection, and when you think about it, we grow through and with others so powerfully. So building relationships, expanding your network, building community, visibility are all central to our ability to grow our careers. There's confidence. Again, not one that you normally think about when you think career development, but if you don't have it, it's a showstopper. And there are times in almost all of our careers where we've got those dips. And the most powerful growth that we need to engage in is getting to a place where we trust our ability to show up and to perform predictably. And that means doubling down on confidence. There's also contentment. And I get a lot of sideways glances around that because a lot of people think, oh, contentment, that's sort of complacency. Do I really want employees who are content? But what we're talking about is this ability to cultivate a sense of ease and joy and meaning and balance that's needed to sustain us over the long haul, that it is going to be multiple decades. It can't be that hard charging climb up the corporate ladder day after day for 50 years. And then there's also the dimension around choice. And that's a particularly timely one right now. That sense of autonomy that we want control over where we work, how we work, when we work. And you think about when people are given more control, more decision-making authority, tremendous learning to be had in that. And so you mentioned the research that we did. We had these 7 other dimensions, and then the climb, because it had to be a C to make all the C's work here. And so I knew that these were they made sense to people because they came from real people. But what I really wasn't sure about was when push came to shove and people had to really say, what's more important to me? Where would it all fall? And so that was our research. We worked with about 750 folks worldwide, and we just asked them to rank these dimensions, just nothing more complicated than that. And Alex, what blew me away, what continues to blow me away as I work with groups and do this polling with groups in training and keynotes and that kind of thing, is in aggregate, the people that we polled and continue to poll are more interested in all of those other dimensions than they are in climbing the corporate ladder. And to me, and contribution is number one. That in aggregate is the top most interesting of the dimensions, which to me just sends such an incredibly hopeful message to managers who are kind of afraid to have these conversations because they think, I can't give these people a promotion. You can absolutely give them an opportunity for contribution. Any day of the week, you can find ways.